Hello, everybody. I'm telling you a bit more about our history with systemic design and biomimicry and blue economy and regeneration and whatever it is. So, at this moment in the time of our world, we are combining everything. And the way we do not see it really well is because we have silos, and we have too many silos. And we do not know how to combine these silos. And what I always do is I make a scope, a local scope, because you have to create it for the local people. And then you use everything that is inside the scope and you connect all these silos of economic activities together with healthy processes. First of all, you look for the space in the system. The space in the system is with stranded assets, empty buildings, for instance, or other stranded talents or whatever. And then you really look at what you want to create. I want to give you an example of my own area where it goes wrong. We've been working for a long time on our own area already. It's in Limburg, it's in the Netherlands. And since years, since decades, we've been working on it with groups of people. And we have a lot of interconnected SMEs, and we all use each other's talents and cooperate a lot together to make it all happen. But where it goes wrong is with our government, who doesn't have a good business model. So they sell their land to, for instance, a distribution center, and then they seed extra problems. Why do they seed extra problems? They just think they sell the land and they get the money and they say we create jobs. But we have to look at what kind of jobs you want to create. We have to look at who is there who needs a job. You have to look at what do these buildings contribute to soil and water and the living conditions in an area. And if you then look at a distribution center, you know that it will only attract foreign employees because we do not have the people who want or can work there in a distribution center. So that's a bit the problem. We get a lot of European people in then, Bulgarian people, Spanish people, and in Holland, we have a housing problem. We have a huge housing problem. So if you get extra people in, where do you house these people? Then you will have really civil war kind of things, because the local people say, why do they come here and get our jobs and get our houses and everything? They want to live like this. And it's really, people don't see it. So as a designer, as a leader, you have to look at soil maps first, water maps first, and look at who you are designing for. Then you look at what is already there and you're going to redesign. You're going to repurpose things. You're going to make space in the system. And you're going to make sure that for the empty areas, if, for instance, you want to create a new industrial estate, you make sure that you invite the neighbors in who can use each other's restrooms. So, let me share a screen with you again. This is how we now design linearly. We have a raw material, we do production, and the raw material needs to be shipped. Lots of shipping around the world in all kinds of modalities. Lots of packaging of stuff. Accumulation is really our biggest problem. Then you have a lot of waste. Then you have during the production already, because you have a lot of byproducts and you don't use them. And then you have a lot of consumption, and between production and consumption, you have a lot of transport. And then you have a lot of waste during consumption. And in the end, everything is waste. That's the linear economy we're doing now. Well, we try to loop them, but it's not working. Be honest, it's not working. So what we need to do is really think about systems. And then we see how nature does it. Ecology and economy have the same root as a word. Ecos, oikos, you write it in Greek. Home, planet. Ecology is knowledge of the planet. Economy is management of the planet. Management of our home. Why do we do it so stupidly? So principles are reciprocity. Start with feeding and giving. Harvesting comes. Design for resilience. Make it flexible. Make sure that innovation is at the middle of your company or a collective of companies. So you have no lock-ins and you can really shift very quickly with time. Make sure that your transport, you use everything there is and make it, they call it synchromodal at this moment, synchromodality. Make sure you can easily go from trains to roads, to waterways, to walking, to whatever. Use apps for that. We have apps. We have computers for that. So that is great. Make sure that people are like water. People are 70% water and people are like water. They go the road of the least resistance. Don't build resistances. Build systems. Multifunctional, minimum materials. If you do multifunctional, you have minimum materials. And here I sometimes use an example that is really a bit far-fetched, but it is how it should be. Governments are responsible for a lot of things. They are responsible for the commons. So if you build a healthy school, we build a lot of healthy schools now in Holland because we do healthy building programs in Holland. So if you build a healthy school, make sure it is used 24/7. Make sure it is used by day for the children, by night for the adults, by the evening for the adults. And in the night, you have a responsibility for homeless people. It is the design to use it like that. And yes, it needs good leadership, but that's where we should be going. And I will really stop these practical, stuff filmies, because communication and leadership is all that it needs for peace and for living together in healthy areas. Okay, so we use abundantly available local resources. Look at it with different glasses. If you have toxic sediments, it's all metals. You can harvest it locally, no problem at all. Use all byproducts in a new process close by. If you have CO2, you emit CO2, you put a spirulina producer next to it, or a greenhouse or whatever, because plants grow on CO2. Be as simple as that. You have economies of scope. Governments say to all companies, you are responsible for all you have and get it from as close by as possible. No transport, but also no pollution. If you pollute or have rest product or whatever, make sure you invite a neighbor next to you who uses it. Close by, yes. And if you want to do that for a whole industrial estate, for instance, make inspiration meetings. Make sure they know what is there. Make sure you have all the reports and inspiration and education so they can use each other's restrooms. Prosumers is very important. If you design for resilience, all citizens should be resilient. If you want energy, produce energy. If you want food, eat what's edible. Produce your own food in a community garden, in your own garden. Stop producing a lawn, stop growing lawns, grow food. And for companies, that is the same thing. Sometimes also this is not new knowledge. It is really, I learned this stuff from Luigi Bistanino. And Luigi is the most wonderful Italian guy I know, full of Italian spirit. And he's in the Politecnico of Torino, and he has lots of PhD students. He has retired already, but all the PhD students are making this happen. And one of them is Chiara Battistoni, good friend of mine. She really designs all these systems. So if you want to learn from her, learn from all these young people who are doing it and who are really doing it for a long time already. How do we do it? If, for instance, I talk to farmers, I give them business models, and I do not give them one business model. I give them many, 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 many. They can have 20 crops. They can have 20 income streams in their business model. That is economies of scope. That is a business model change. So I teach them business models, the farmers. I teach all companies about how to make business models with more income streams and lots of cash flows and some assets to build on, but the rest is all cash flows. And then you get all the feedback loops going. It's no rocket science. Get the hang of it. And I'll see you again about communication. Bye-bye.